Hi.
Hi.
See,
Sorry
I
for
was
all the
patient.
technical.
It's okay. I'm patient. It's
And
okay.
we were early. We were early and ready.
It's okay. That's okay. Things happen. How you guys doing? Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Try to take the camera and push it back a little so we can see both of you guys.
Okay.
So we can see both of y'all
Yeah,
perfectly.
Bob,
Like,
trying to get out the camera.
okay. Perfect. Yay, I'm so excited. Look, I was over here crossing my fingers like, please let it work. Please let it work.
And I'm like, all right, we're gonna log in early. We're gonna be ready. Of course, always technical difficulties.
It's okay. It happens. So I want you guys to introduce yourself to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been to. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, in the U.S., and currently living in Valencia, Spain.
Okay.
I'm Bobby. I'm originally from San Diego, but I grew up in Atlanta, and we've known each other. We're high school sweethearts. We've known each other. I met her when I was 16. So, and I met her at a teen club when I was 16, and Atlanta always has those little teen clubs and stuff. And met her there, and I haven't let her out of my sight since.
Wow. I love it. So we're going to jump right in. I know I say that all the time, but I'm just always excited to just jump in immediately. So I love that you guys introduced yourself and you told us where you're from. So tell us how you got to where you are now. So I'll start by asking the first question. What made you guys inspired to move abroad to Spain?
All right. So I always like to tell the story.
You can tell the story.
Okay, so this is before we had any kids. We were sitting in the living room watching House Hunters International. I don't know if anybody's seen that show before, but we were watching House Hunters International, and there was a Texas couple that had like 11 kids or something like that. They had 11 kids and they moved to Valencia. And we're like, okay, this is like the third episode we've seen where they're moving to Valencia. They have 10 kids. We've seen people do it with 4 kids, no kids, 3 kids, 2 kids, whatever. And I'm like, okay, we got 1 kid. If they can do it with 10, we should be able to do it with 1. And so we watched a couple more episodes specifically around Valencia, and we're like, all right, maybe that's something we can do. So I was at work one day, and it surprised me for my birthday on a trip to Valencia. So I came home from work, and she was like, pack your stuff, and I was like, what? I was like, pack my stuff, what? And she was like, yeah, we're going on this trip. We're doing it. We're gonna go see what it's about. We're gonna see if it's like it is on TV. And we call that our scout trip. That's what we called it. We were here for like 2 weeks. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to go back to Atlanta at all.
And I'd say we decided to move to Valencia more so than we decided to move to Spain.
There you go. Yeah.
I lived in Spain before. I didn't love it, but we came and visited Valencia, and it was a different. It's like going to Alabama, but you want to move to LA. So depending on the city you're in, the experience is completely different.
For sure.
Okay. You said depending on the city. Okay.
Yeah.
So it sounds like
sorry.
No, go ahead. What were you saying?
I lived in Sevilla in the past, which although it's southern Spain, it's still a completely different culture, completely different vibe.
Yeah.
Okay. It sounds like both of you guys went off how you felt. Like you both said, I got there and I just felt like I loved it. So it was.
Yeah.
Was it more environmental? Like the environment just made you feel?
For me, for me, I can't speak for this. For me, it was. I don't know. I felt like I reconnected to something, right? Because, like I said, I'm originally from San Diego. I'm super light skinned. So you can tell that I'm biracial. my mother's Mexican, and just coming here, the vibe, the beat, the language, it felt like I reconnected to something that had been broken a long time ago.
Wow.
So like something that was disconnected early in my childhood when I left California, basically, and I moved to Georgia. I left something there. I left a piece of culture, if you will. I left a piece of my identity. even kind of when I moved to Georgia. And now, because I don't want to go all into politics and everything, but you know, in this, when you leave like California, you go to the South. It's very, you're white or black. You're
Right.
white, black, or other when you move to the South, right? Especially in the '90s, early 2000s. You're you're white, you're black, or other. That's all it is. But in California, I never felt that. I never felt. You know, people say I don't see color. That's bullshit. I hate when people say I don't see
Right.
color. But I didn't feel like I was in a box growing up. Like when I was a young kid in California, I didn't feel like I was checking identity boxes. I was just me and who I was. I didn't really start caring about those boxes until I moved to the South. And I realized when I tried to sit down, I remember I sat down my first day of school, 8th grade. I sit down at the lunch table, and I'm used to. I'm just sitting next to everybody. And I remember a dude came up to me and he's like, why you sitting on this table? And all the brothers on that side. Why you sitting over here? And I was like, because it was open. Because
Right.
I didn't feel like fighting for a spot. So it was the open seat. And everybody was at that table, right? You know, there's whites, Asians, black folks, Hispanics, everybody was at the table. That's what I'm used to, sitting at the table with all kinds of race. Um, but but yeah, it was a culture shock for sure. So I felt like that part of me was left in California, and I was forced to become like, say it without sounding like an asshole. To,
Right.
I was forced to be blacker than I was, right? Not to tap into so much with my Hispanic side, not to tap into the things that made me who I was, but I had to reform myself into a more acceptable version for the for Southern U.S., if that makes sense.
Right.
Um, and once I lost that, when we came here, I felt it again. I felt that the same thing that I left in California, I felt it when we got off. I mean, as soon as we got off the plane, as soon as we got off the plane, you walk to the airport, you hear the Spanish. We're walking through. I even told her, I was like, it kind of even smells like Mexico here. I was like, it's so weird. It's so weird. It's like something from my childhood was relit. And I know I'm
Yes.
talking too much, so I'll stop talking.
Um, for me, I spoke Spanish. I majored in Spanish in college. I've loved the language. Valencia is a really beautiful city. It's a beach town, coastal. The climate's amazing. Crime is really, really low. It just really felt like a really safe place to raise a family when I visited, and that's why I picked it.
Wow. Listen to the background. It sounds so peaceful. The birds are just happy. Wow.
Yes. Well, we're outside of Valencia, but
Yeah.
yes, that's another great thing about Valencia. Like you can be in the heart of the city and then you can drive 20 minutes, 30 minutes and people think that's so far and you're in this calm, peaceful, beautiful part of outside of the city. That's what I
Wow.
love too. You want to get away, you don't have to drive 3-5 hours to get away. You can go 30 minutes and you're in a whole nother environment.
Yeah, just 20, 30 minutes. Wow, that's not far at all coming from
It's
where
not
I'm
far at
from.
all.
That's like a
Right.
quick
In
drive.
Georgia, right. In Georgia, like Atlanta, we're used to 45 minutes to an hour to go to work. So
Yeah.
30 minutes for a new vacation spot is nothing.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so my next question that I want to ask you guys, what did the process look like before you got there? Like leaving Atlanta, packing up, like what did you guys do? Did you have to sell things? Did you throw things away? How did family respond to you leaving? What did that experience look like when you guys left your home?
Uh, yeah, we sold everything. We sold our home. We sold our cars. We have a storage space still with just our family items we kept, but we wanted to get rid of everything. We didn't want any debt. We wanted to get rid of everything. Um, Honestly, it was a very hard conversation with our families. Our families are very close. Like I said, we've been together forever. So it's our family. It's not his family, my family. We do things together, as a family. My mom talks to his mom, so we're like one big family. And I think we had a barbecue or dinner
Yeah.
and we invited all of our friends and family and told them, and they like broke down. Like, you're kidding me.
Oh,
it was very emotional for me because I am so close to our family. But it's been lovely. Like my best friend has been out here like 5 times to visit. His mom's been here a few times. My mother didn't even have a passport, and she comes every year with my
Oh, I love
stepfather.
it.
So it's been a great experience for not just us, but our family. Like I said, my sister didn't have a passport. She's been here with my nephew. It's opened up, I think, a world for them to see. You know, the U.S. is just grind, work, hustle. You take your 1 week vacation, and they come here and they're like, everybody is so happy and peaceful. And my mom is almost 75 years old, and she sees people older than her riding bicycles, and she can't believe it. She sees women dancing and partying and drinking, you know, bottles of wine with their friends in the morning for breakfast. And you know, it's a different culture. It's a different lifestyle where it's people truly live to enjoy life. It's not all about work. It's about just enjoying life. They make 30,000 a year or 30,000 euros or 40. They're fine with that. They're enjoying life, and it's something we appreciate and something that we really, one of the big reasons why we came here, because of the grind, because of the hustle, because in the US, you've got to, Atlanta, you've got to keep up with the Joneses. Everybody cares what you're driving, what do you do, how much you make, where you live. You know, we were looking at a private school for our daughter in Atlanta, 35,000 a year. And we're like,
for kindergarten.
we can live abroad for a whole year for that price.
For kindergarten?
Yes.
So yeah, we stayed downtown Atlanta, so we didn't
before gentrification, before the new Atlanta.
I was about to say, it's not the new Atlanta. It is the school. Oh, they're better. Yeah. Well, at the time, the schools were terrible in our immediate neighborhood. Yeah. So we were like, all right, we got to
terrible, but they weren't. They weren't top performing schools. I'm a little more PC.
Wow.
You know, you want to put your kids in a you know, a good school. If you see the schools in your community are 1s and 2s and 3s on a 10 scale, that's not really where you want your kids to be. And we didn't want to pay for private schools, so that was another reason. Like, we can move abroad for to save money.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Definitely. I love that. So that goes into my next question. Moving abroad with a child. So a lot of people always ask, well, what do you do for schooling? How do they feel? Are they making friends? You know, how did they respond to that change? Food, health insurance, if they have any health issues. So what does that look like moving abroad with a child? Now, I know you guys said you have one child, right?
No, we got two.
Oh, you got two.
I'll let you cover, because we have one here abroad in Spain. He's born here. So you can cover Ava experience also.
All right.
Okay.
So Ava, a lot of people, they do, well, yes, one or two things. They either send them to a local public school or a concertado, which is like kind of public-private kind of deal, to immerse their kids ASAP so that they're speaking Spanish and they're fluent as soon as possible. I decided against that because our oldest, Ava, she's like a social butterfly. She likes to make friends. She talks to everybody. She's not a recluse at all.
She was almost 6 at the time.
She was almost 6. And so I thought that, you know, I thought it'd be a disservice to not only move her to another country, but then also put her in a school where she can't talk to anybody, at least for this first couple months, because she doesn't know the language. I just didn't think that was, for her, I just didn't think that would be a healthy transition, right? We're already moving her abroad, but then to stick her also into a school where she can't say anything to anybody, I just thought that was too much. So we enrolled her in a British school because we do at some point think that we're going back to the U.S. So we want to make sure that her schooling here lines up with the U.S. system back home, you know, just for high school, university, anything like that. So that's why we put her in a British school. She's flourishing there. She has friends from every country you can think of. Health insurance, not a big deal. It's just like the U.S. except it's half price.
It's
The U.S.
way cheaper in the U.S.
It's way cheaper.
For private health insurance.
For private health, yeah. Private health insurance, the whole family's covered. It's less than half what we were paying in the U.S.
You have in Spain. You have to get private health insurance when you first move here.
It's part of your visa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Visa requirement.
Yep.
So we had to get, but we spend, I think it's 400 euros, 300 euros for family of four.
Yep.
Covers dental.
Everything.
I had my baby here. I didn't get a bill.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with our youngest daughter was born here 2 years ago, and we're choosing a different route for her. So we're putting her in a Spanish-speaking nursery, and we're going to put her in a Spanish-speaking school because one of the things we saw with our oldest, she speaks Spanish, but not fluently. Even after being here for 5 years, she's still very connected to native English speakers. They learn Spanish in school, but it's, I think, 1 hour a day. And she just has not embraced the language the way I hoped she would. So because our youngest was born here, she hears Spanish every day in the supermarkets, around friends. We're going to go a different route with her. But again, no regrets. Our oldest daughter, you know, she, in a British school, she learns German, she learns French, she learns Spanish, she learns Valenciano, which is a local regional language. So she's exposed to so much. And culturally, they call her class the United Nations because her friends are from everywhere. From China, from Russia, from Ukraine, from England, from Egypt. So, you know, she's just been exposed to just a really international experience that I love for her. But the language, she just still kind of really pushes back with the language.
Which is so funny because she can speak it. Like when we're out and about, because my Spanish is still trash. So even when we're out and about, like she'll fill in the gaps for me sometimes. And so I'm like, you can speak this language. Just do it. Like, it's not a big deal. It's not like even at government offices, I'm like, I'll nudge her. I'm like, what'd she say? What'd that lady say? And then she'll be like, Dad, come on, Dad, you know what she said.
She brags about her Spanish is better than his. Yeah. But she still she gravitates towards, you know, she doesn't care what country you're from, but if you speak English, you're going to be my friend. Exactly. So that's just her. That's her personality. So we're going to try with our youngest a different route.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it. I love how they're both, like, obviously they're together, but they're having their own different experiences. Like, they're siblings, but they're having their own different experience. And I think that's so dope because the baby will be, they consider it bilingual, right?
Right.
I love that. I love that. It's something about children learning the native language when they move abroad to the country they move to. Because that's like what I'm dealing with my son. He's like, I don't want to be here if I don't know how to speak the language. And to me, children being submerged in the language and the culture, it just makes it so much more impactful, you know, as parents and seeing that in our children. But also, I feel like it makes their experiences greater as they age and grow. And they can literally go to different places all over the world. And it's like, hey, I speak 2 languages. To me, that's a flex. I love it.
I agree. And I tell my oldest daughter all the time, like, you don't appreciate it now because you're only 11, but when you get older, I'm proud that I'm bilingual. You know, I'm it's something. And when I meet people who speak 3, 4 languages, I'm just blown away. We meet children here who speak 3, 4 languages.
Wow.
And I'm just amazed.
Fluently.
So yes, I agree. It is a flex. And I tell my 11-year-old, like, you don't appreciate it now that you're learning all these languages in school, but you trust me, you will.
When you get older. Probably comfort. I think it's comfort too, because as a child, to wrap your head around, okay, we're already moving abroad. I want to keep something that I'm used to, right? I'm just thinking as, you know, like a psychologist from a kid's perspective on what a kid might be thinking. I want to hold on to something that I can remember that's mine, that I can call my own, and that's familiar to me, that I don't have to, like, figure out, even though, like you guys said, she knows how to speak it, but I think it's a comfort. I think it's a comfort.
100%. I agree. Yeah, definitely is.
And that's why I was so focused on kids sending her to the British school and not to one of the local schools, because she needed that immersion right away. And I will say one thing about my oldest is that she, other than, you know, obviously all kids whine, right? All kids whine about stuff, but she handled the transition about as best as I could have imagined, right? I couldn't have scripted her acceptance of the transition any better. Like, she handled it flawlessly. Now, again, by keeping things familiar, sending her to an English school, surrounding her with English speakers, she just moved. Like, she's so, you know, kids are so damn tough. They're so resilient. They're more resilient than we give them credit for.
Right, a lot more resilient than most adults.
For sure. But she handled that about as good as I could have hoped for. That was my biggest fear, is that she's gonna hate the move. She's gonna hate us for making her move. She's gonna hate school, which she loves school. And then she was gonna hate school. You brought me all the way over here. You took me from my family and friends, and now I got to start over. That was not her attitude at all. Her attitude after the initial, okay, we're doing this. there was some shock. There was some shock there. Not much. Yeah. But once we actually got here, she still was kind of funny, but it was great because we got here in the summer, so school wasn't in yet. So we had like a month, or was it 2 months, to really like get a flow and get our routine and understand and adopt a new place. And then school started. She was begging to go to school by the time school started. Like, she was like, I want to go to school. I want to go to school. When are we buying my stuff? When are we going to get the supplies? Oh, come on, I'm ready to start school. And the moment she started school, she took off from there. Yeah.
That would be my definite recommendation to anyone thinking about moving abroad. Like, your children will be fine. Yep. Children are so resilient.
Yep.
It's amazing just to see children embrace different cultures, different nationalities, different languages, different food. Your children will be fine. Maybe it's a little harder if you have older children, but if you have younger children, they will flourish.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
They'll probably be better than you.
Yeah. They'll have more friends than you. Yeah. They'll be speaking the language before you speak it.
Absolutely.
They will open up. They even open up doors for you, right? Because of the relationship, because of our daughter at school and the social butterfly she is. We've made friends from her school. Her friends' parents are our friends, you know, and so we've expanded our social network just because of the school and the person our daughter is. Just, you know, she's just a light, and I love that about her. And, you know, like most kids, they have their good days and bad days. She has some days where she's homesick. You know, Vincent gets the same way where they're homesick and they want to go home. It's a little different for me. I'm ex-military. My brother's in the military. My father was in the military. My stepfather's in the military. So that I'm used to not being up under my family all the time. So for me, this transition was easier because I'm used to it. I'm used to, you know, I'll see y'all in a couple months, or I'll see you in a year. Like, you know, when you grow up in a military family, you know, you're kind of used to that. So it wasn't a big as issue for me as it is for you and Ava, or for Vincent and Ava especially. But she's just awesome.
I love it.
She's just awesome. But like, to Vince's point, I mean, if anybody is like, I want to move, but I don't because of my kids, I'm telling you, if they're under 10, it won't be an issue. If they're under 10, it'll be super easy. It'll be way easier than you think. Yeah. But to Vince's point, if you're, let's say, freshman, sophomore in high school, which we know some people that did that to their kids.
People do it.
That's kind of tough. We know a couple who took their kid, then they moved here his junior year of high school.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that had to be tough. I would have just let him stay with grandma, finish school, and then move, or something like that.
But people do it.
But people do it. I mean, people do it. So if there's anybody listening that's like, oh shit, my kid's a teenager, that's fine too. They'll adapt. Again, like I said, kids are more resilient than we give them credit for. So. Yeah, don't let your children be the reason why you don't make the move. I guess is what.
And I'm happy.
If anything, it should be your reason.
Yeah, I'm happy you guys touched on that, because a lot of people, they don't move for that reason. They don't want to uproot their children. Mm-hmm. You know, that's like a big thing.
Right. And the hardest for me is being away from grandparents and aunts and uncles. But if you have a close family, my mom, we video with the girls every day. My parents come here, you know, once a year. We go to the U.S. the entire summer. So if you're willing to put in the work and the family's willing to put in the work, then it'll be fine.
Yep.
It will, definitely. I feel like having that family support, it definitely changes things and it helps it be a lot more easier for you to adapt to the journey. You know, when you have family and friends standing behind you and they're like, hey, I support you. We're here. They'll FaceTime call. They'll contact you. They'll reach out. How's things going? How's life abroad? You know, just having them there to like support.
Absolutely.
I feel like it really helps.
Yeah, because I would get pressure from my friends. And when the first 3 years, when are you moving back? When are y'all coming back? When are y'all moving back? And now, don't move back. Stay where you are. They've been here. They visited. They've experienced life here. And now they're like, we want to move too. Even his mom, like we're thinking about, moving his mom here to help us and, have life here. My mom's like, no, don't move back. What you guys are doing for the kids is amazing. The when are you moving back conversations, now that we're almost 6 years in it, I think we don't hear that anymore. They understand and they support us, which makes me feel, because I am so close to my family, really good.
Yeah, I can tell. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so visas. Let's talk visas. So I know you mentioned that one of the requirements is insurance. So could you tell us, could you guys share with us the visa process, which route you guys took and how the experience was with obtaining them?
Okay. Well, it's changed since we've been here.
Yeah.
We did the non-lucrative visa, which means you can't work in Spain on the visa, so you can't come here and looking for a job. So you either have to show that you have enough savings to support yourself without needing support for the government. But now they have the digital nomad visa, so a lot of people are coming here on the digital nomad visa, where you can work online from anywhere in the world. We hired. I think we found it. Didn't we hire Krista?
That was, but we did the visa process ourselves.
We did the visa process ourselves. Have a great relationship with the consulate, whatever country you're moving to. Email, phone call, get to know the consulate, go back and forth, asking questions.
What's the person that represents the consulate in every state? Because every state has because that's the guy that we talked to first.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, every state, because for Spain there was no Spanish consulate in Georgia, so we had to go to Florida. But every state has a representative for their country, I believe.
Yeah,
I don't know either.
They have a title. I can't remember the title, but we started pinging him like right away. Like just like, all right, we have all these questions. What do we need to do? I don't want to go all the way to Miami for no reason. So just for them to send me back home because I forgot some piece of paper or something. So we started with him, and some of his information, I would say about 75% of his information was very helpful, and 25% was outdated or just like we got down there and they're like, who told you this? So, you got to take that, with the good and the bad. So let's see, very first process, go down to start to get a relationship with the consulate, start emailing, calling them when you can, find your local representative for the country you're trying to go to. Almost every U.S. state has a representative for, damn near every country. So we started that process, went down to Miami, and in Miami, they want to see proof of insurance, proof of, not income, but proof of cash, or that you have enough money to move abroad.
Spain wants to make sure that you're not going to
end up in the government system.
They don't want, they want to make sure they're not going to have to financially support you here. Yeah. So a lot of people for the non-lucrative visa either sell a lot of assets, like what we did, or they're retired and they have, retirements lined up. Or
they have online jobs,
but you still have to show the savings.
Yeah, you have to show the savings.
But with the digital nomad visa, which we didn't get, but I know now it's changed. I think it's easier now to move to Spain because you have to show that you have a job, and you have, I think it's a certain amount of income. I don't know, but there is an easier process now.
Yeah, it's way easier than
through the digital nomad visa. we hired someone to help us with relocation, right? Help us find a place here in Spain, someone to help us
do all the paperwork.
Do all the paperwork once you get local, because that's when it gets, in Spain, it's a lot of bureaucracy.
Yeah,
and
it's very slow.
It's very slow, and you go to one office with a stack of papers.
They take one paper out and push the rest back.
Right. Or they say, you don't have this one paper, come back. So we hired somebody to help us when we first got here, but for the rest of it, we did it on our own. We just did our permanent residency on our own.
Yeah.
So I'd say, especially if you are going to another country where it's not your native language, if you can hire somebody, do it the first round for you.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible, to do it on your own. I see, you can do it on your own.
Yeah.
But my recommendation, if you can get someone to help you, show you schools, show you neighborhoods. We wanted to kind of visit the neighborhoods, visit the schools, before we made a decision.
Yeah. Yeah, she was incredibly helpful. Krista was incredibly helpful. Because when you first get here, after your visa gets approved, when you get here, you have to come and register locally. You have to get your NIE. So your visa gets you here, and then once you're here, you have to then register locally, and that's a whole nother process, at least here in Spain. And she took care of all that. So she helped us with the transition. She took care of all of our first round. She did the first 2 years, didn't she?
I did.
I think it was the first 2 years that we had to renew. She helped us with that. She did all the paperwork. She literally, all she sent us was a bill. She's like, everything's done. Here's the fee.
Be at this office.
Be at this office
at
this time. Yep. And that was it.
So I think relocation specialists are great. If you
don't speak the native language.
If you don't speak the native language. I mean, even I spoke the native language, and it's still just dealing with, dealing with government offices.
Yeah.
Now it's easy. Now we do it, and, it's no problem. But in the beginning, if you can do it, I would get one. But if it's not in your budget, it's not impossible. You can do it on your own.
For sure.
It just requires things like this, talking to people, meeting people, finding out, We even had, with our permanent residency, we were going to pay someone because we thought it was a long process. So we reached out to a Spanish lawyer, and he's like,
Just do it online.
Just do it online. Here are these documents that you need. Do it yourself.
Yeah.
Which no one in the U.S. would ever do that. He sent us a list of, this is all the documents, this is where you go, and you can do it yourself. So we did it ourselves and got approved. So patience. I would say any country, have patience. Read documents, talk to your local consulate. Don't be afraid to ask questions, triple check. Some people move sight unseen. We know people who bought properties without moving here. I wouldn't recommend it, but
I would do that.
Some people, pick a neighborhood, pick a school, and they haven't even moved here. So do what works for your family. That didn't work for our family. We wanted to see the nighttime, the daytime.
Right.
We wanted to see the schools. We wanted to meet teachers and parents.
Okay, so you guys have residency now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have to renew? Do you have to renew, or that's only visas, or do you have to renew or update anything? Or once it's done as far as residency?
So once you get your permanent residency in Spain, you do have to renew, but it's every 5 years instead of every 2.
Oh.
When you're on the non-lucrative visa or any of the other visa types, I don't know about the digital nomad one, but all the other visa types you have to renew every 2 years. Once you become a permanent resident, it's only every 5.
And it's not sitting in your
you don't
health insurance, because now we qualify for public health care, which is free or covered. So it's really, and then after 10 years, we can apply for citizenship.
10?
10.
Oh, it is 10. Okay.
I think it's 10. If anybody
if anybody
right.
You say don't.
I say
7 or 10.
Okay. We got it. 7 or 10 in between.
Like I'm in a line, like, you're wrong. That's not right information.
Exactly.
I think it's
okay, yeah, because you know how people, they like to tussle with these things sometimes.
Right. You gave me the wrong information.
Yes.
We're not lawyers. This was just our experience.
Exactly.
It's what we think.
With the disclaimer,
Right.
please investigate your own situation.
Right,
We're not
right.
liable for any information that we're sharing in this conversation.
Right. This is just inspiration.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay, so food. How has food now? Everyone, I don't know. Like I just found out that food can be kind of like a culture shock for me. I don't know how other people are with food, but moving abroad and adapting to the food, how is it? Is it healthier like everyone says it is? Is it the same? Is it very delicious? Is it hard to adjust to? How's the food in Spain?
That was easy. That wasn't that hard. For me the biggest shock was everybody has this notion that Spain means Mexican. No, it doesn't.
Or South American.
Or South American or Central American.
It's
not the same at all.
Okay.
It's not spicy. It's like everything you think about when you think of Mexican food or Central South American food in the U.S. It is not that at all. It's much more bland, much more Mediterranean, if you will, whatever the hell that's supposed to mean. That in my mind, when I came here, Mediterranean meant a bunch of salads.
Right.
So you know, like, but at least in Valencia, at least in southern Spain, they like fried foods here a lot. Like that was surprising. How many chicken places there are, how many hamburger places there are. I was just like,
even fried seafood.
Yeah. Like I was completely shocked by that.
But yes, the food is much healthier.
It is.
There's fruterias, which is like fruit stands on every corner where you can get fresh fruits really cheap.
Yep.
Local and international fruits and vegetables.
Everything's more lean. Everything's cleaner. There's not as many preservatives and stuff.
Spain, I think, does a great job. You can see, like, you know, they give you the ingredients and it's like 3 to 5 ingredients versus in the U.S.
There's
50
like that long.
Boxes.
Wow.
So definitely more natural. I'm a pescatarian. Spain has a very big ham culture, but it's still no problem to find, you know, because I don't eat chicken, beef, or pork. But it's still easy for me to find food here. In Valencia, there's a big vegan culture also. We've got friends who are vegan. So our oldest daughter she likes stereotypical American food. So she wants hamburgers, she wants French fries, she wants Oscar Mayer hot dogs. She wants all the stuff that, you know, most people don't want to eat. So it probably was the biggest adjustment was for her.
Yeah.
But she's embraced it. I even do videos on our Kindle Eats Instagram page with her trying new fruits and trying new vegetables and just exposing her to different things.
Yeah.
I love it. So it doesn't seem like the food was a deal breaker or anything for you guys. Like the food was an easy transition.
Yeah, that was easy.
The food was easy.
The food.
It's not our favorite. Like Spanish food is not our. You know, if I had to write out like my top 5 favorite like nationalities of food, Spanish food wouldn't be top 5. But I don't complain about like, oh, I hate the food. The food's terrible.
Okay.
So it's not a problem.
Okay.
But it's not, like Bobby said, it's very European where there's not a lot of spices. One of the big things that was different for us even here, other nationalities change their food for Spanish palate. So you go to an Indian restaurant, you're expecting to get Indian food.
No.
It's not spicy.
It's like the diet version.
You go to an Italian restaurant. It's definitely, they changed the palate for the Spanish palate, no matter what the nationality is of the restaurant, which was a big adjustment for us. We're like, we want spicy Indian food, and you go and you're like, where's the spice?
Remember the guy gave me the warning?
Yeah, they warn you. It's really spicy.
Like, it's very hot, brother. It's very hot. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. Yeah, make it as hot as you can. And he brought it to me, and it was something that I would give to my daughter.
And
It
it
had
was
no
hot.
spice.
Wow.
It was no spice at all. I'm like, come on, man.
No, so
Gave me a warning. I was all excited.
Right.
all that to say, we cook at home a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love
Much
that.
more than we did
More
it
than we
in the
did,
States,
yeah,
for sure.
which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Groceries are cheaper. Eating out's cheaper. And you know, just everything. Now, don't get me wrong, right? If you go and you have some fried shit, it's fried shit. No matter how good the ingredients are, it's still not the perfect meal, but it's just easier. I just feel like everything's easier. I don't know, except for the government shit. That's not easier. But I feel like life is just easier here. I can be me. I can be free. I can be autonomous. I can be whatever the hell I want to be, literally,
Love it.
here. And I think that's above all is why I love being here and why it would be very difficult for me to move back to the U.S., especially now. Um, it would be very hard for me to move back because I just have this sense of security, right? When I lived in Atlanta, every time I heard a noise, every time the dog barked, every time I heard something by my car, every time I heard something in the driveway, I'm like jumping up, right? Every time I see anybody cutting through my house, I'm like, why is he going this way? Why is he going by my back door? What are they doing? You know, and it's just mostly just people not really doing shit until they are.
Right.
Because we caught people in our neighbors' cars multiple times. So I just hated that. I hated not being able to just like now I hear bump in the night and I'm like, I don't give a shit what that is. I'm not getting up. I'm not getting out the bed. I'm not checking it. We don't even lock our fucking front door. I hate to say fucking. I don't know if I can cuss. Can I cuss?
No, you can cuss. I cuss.
Okay.
Be yourself. Be your authentic self here.
But we don't even lock the front door.
Doing funny story during COVID. I left, I think coming back from the grocery store, because it was really tight, really strict during COVID. Coming back from the grocery store, I left the keys in the door. I don't even know how many days. Finally, like, our neighbor knocked on the door.
Our neighbor knocked on the door.
It's like, the keys are in the door.
They're like,
But,
Yabis. I was like, that's not mine.
I left the keys in the door because it was COVID, you're panicking, you're trying to get in the house. But, I mean, the keys were in the door at least like 3 days.
Yeah.
And we didn't worry.
We didn't worry about it.
In Atlanta, in our old neighborhood, yeah.
We locked every door. We turned the alarm on before we went to bed.
We had the camera.
We had all the cameras
we had
on.
Our dog.
We had the dog. And it was just like, I'm like, why do I feel like a police station or a military base at home? Why do I need so much protection just to sleep at night? And it's crazy. Now, I know that varies by city. That varies by state, whether you live in the city or you live in the suburbs. I get that, but we lived in downtown Atlanta when Atlanta was still transitioning. And yeah, you know, shit happens all the time, all around us. So I hated that. I hated always being on edge, telling my wife, Vincent, don't go get gas at night. Make sure you guys are home, or make sure you take this route home. If somebody's following you, circle the block. Don't come straight to the house. Like all this dumb, like shit I used to have to do in the military. Like, you know, that situational awareness I used to have in the military, having to have that in civilian life, it got to a point with me where I felt like I wasn't living anymore. I felt like I was defending my life daily, if that makes sense. Now, some people say, oh man, you're just being paranoid. No, not necessarily, because right around the corner from the house from where we lived, the house got kicked in, they kicked in the door, they robbed it, and they killed one of the people in the house. So this wasn't born out of, you know, I'm just being paranoid. No, shit was really going on in the neighborhood, and I needed to be on guard at all times. And I don't feel that here at all. Not one bit. You were coming back from your friends. She walked home and like, I still thought that, I still didn't like that, but she walked home like 2 or 3 in the morning after she went out with her friends. We would never do that in Atlanta. We wouldn't even drive that late at night if we didn't have to. And so she walks, you know, women walk freely. They walk through the parks at night. They're jogging at 1 or 2 in the morning. Nobody's bothering them. But in our neighborhood now, there's like train tracks and a little cut to get to the park. People cut through there all the time. Women all the time. Kids all the time. Nothing ever happens.
The police
the police are actually fucking helpful. Like, when you have questions.
Bobby's like 6'4",
yeah,
and they see him and they're like excited because they think he's like a basketball player. They come up and you know.
I was like, you'll be disappointed when you Google me because
they're excited. They're nice, or they see you have a U.S. passport. They're you know.
And
I don't think we've ever. I mean, you've even been stopped by the police before, and never was problem,
No,
or they're
no.
just
Yeah, they actually are helpful. So like when if they ever have to talk to you, they really don't want to. They don't want to have to give you shit if they don't absolutely have to. Yeah, I turned down a one-way street one time because we were lost. I turned down a one-way street going the opposite direction, and the cop was just like, "Hey man, it's a one-way street. Just turn around and go that way." Calm. He's like, "You're not from here." I was like, "Nope." He's like, "Just turn around that way. You can get back to where you're going on that street. Just calm, cool, relax." Like I said, police are actually helpful. They actually treat you like human beings. I don't feel now. Again, this is a touchy subject. I figured we'd probably get here at some point. There are different people's experiences when it comes to race and acceptance here, right? Depending on what city, what town, whether it's a big city or a small pueblo that you move to here, you have varying degrees of what people would say racism. I personally haven't felt it. I'm 6'4" with dreads, so I expect people to stare at me.
Right.
I expect people to be like, "Who's this guy?" That doesn't bother me per se, but I have not. I've never felt racism here. I haven't felt someone like either shitting on me or giving us terrible service or
denying us
or denying the service,
or no one's ever said you can't live here,
yeah.
or we're not going to serve you.
Yep. But we've heard about people in northern Spain where that's not the case.
And we know, I had a friend who was coming here who was scouting, and she said, no, I didn't like how the people treated me. I didn't like how the people looked at me. They decided to move to Thailand instead. So everybody experiences is different.
Right.
Because people ask that all the time about Spain is so racist, and I know they have of course, a history of racism, and the athletes and soccer players, you see it on the news, how sometimes they get treated. You might have a abuela, an older grandma who stares at you and looks at you, or maybe she's quick to close her door.
Yeah.
But never have we been denied service. Never have we, felt like, whoa, I'm really uncomfortable. I shouldn't be here.
Yes.
Never have we had that.
Yes.
Even if we travel a lot in Spain to smaller towns, to smaller cities.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy you guys touched on that. That was actually going to be my next question, and y'all already made it to it because
we know it's coming.
Yep, we hear so much negativity about racism in Spain, and I always tell people you cannot go. I mean, even though people are hearing your story online, but you can't listen to everybody online because everyone's experience is different. I know plenty of people who have visited Spain and who actually live in Spain, different parts, and I haven't heard racism from them. Some darker than the color of my skin. So it's kind of like everyone's experiences is different, and we hear so much negativity. Oh, I wouldn't go to Spain. They're racist. Da, da, da. So I'm happy that you guys touched on that.
Yeah.
Together.
I think the big thing is culturally, and I think when you and I had a call, I told you Spanish people are kind of like New Yorkers to me. That they're not, my family's from the Bronx, and even my brothers they're not overly welcome. They've got to get to know you. You've got to build that trust. You've got to, they've got to get to know you. Once they get to know you, they're the sweetest, kindest people ever. But they're not going to there's no Southern hospitality in Spain.
No, not at all.
They're not going to hold the doors for you. They're not going to hold the doors for even their abuela. We've seen Spanish people, cut the old 80-year-old lady off in line at the grocery store. It's very much a culture of, I'm not saying excuse me. I'm not saying thank you.
Yep. There's no please and thank you.
I'm very just let me get where I need to get and move on. Yep. And if you come here and you visit, and if you're Black,
you might perceive that as
racism.
But it's not. They're just assholes to everybody. It's not. It's not you. It's not your skin tone. They're just that way with everybody. They talk to their grandma like that.
I've gone to a coffee shop where I'm like, when I first came here, like, how come nobody's coming to my table? I'm sitting here waiting. How come nobody's come to my table? Is it because I'm Black? Now I know. I walk in the cafe con leche. I gotta yell. I gotta be loud. I gotta tell them what I want. That's what Spanish people do. they're not going to sit down and wait for you to come to their table. They're going to yell, well, this is what I want.
Yep.
Here you go.
Yep.
And when you're not from, you haven't lived there, or you're not from here, you can perceive it as
racism.
As racism. That's the first thing that we do as Black Americans. I'm guilty of it. Like, you know, they're treating me this way because of the color of my skin. When maybe it's just culturally, they're just not overly, like New Yorkers are not overly friendly people compared to people from Georgia.
Yeah. But like,
so funny.
Once you get in that circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely different. I've got, you know, I have Spanish friends who, you know, invited to our homes. They came to they threw me, helped plan my baby shower for my youngest. And so we have those friends. We built those relationships. Was it easy? No. I remember the WhatsApp group.
Oh, I was about to say the school group, the mommy group.
The mom WhatsApp group for the daughter's school. When I first started going there, I would WhatsApp questions in the group, and nobody would respond to me. And I'm like, why aren't they responding to me? I'm thinking, are they being racist because I'm Black? They're not responding to my questions. Yeah. And then now 5 years later, I've realized when you live in a country, so many people are coming or going and leaving. So Spanish people aren't going to invest time in building a relationship with you until they know you're here.
Yeah.
So they're not going to overly commit themselves to be helpful to you, to get to know you, to be loving and kind to you until they know you're here. Because a lot of these people, they went to university here, their family's from here, they've been in the city their whole lives. So they want to know, am I going to build this relationship with you and you're gone in 6 months? Because a lot of times that happens. You move abroad and then you move and leave and people come and go. So, yes, there's racism in Spain, of course. There absolutely is racism in Spain, but I think there's racism in every country.
Every country, for sure.
Have we experienced racism? No. Have we experienced some assholes who maybe followed us when we were in the department store? Yeah. Have we had the grandma close the door a little faster than us and we wonder why is she being so quick to close the door on us? Yeah. But have we been denied service? Have we, you know, we've experienced racism in the U.S.
Oh, 100%.
So, it was not the same.
Yeah.
And I love how you spoke on how, there might be some racism, but I also believe that it's perspective. And I was just telling my son this yesterday, when you go to a different country, you have to think about back when you were home in your country and foreigners or foreign people would come. And how was your response to them? Just think about how you were. You would kind of look and glance like, especially I was just telling my dad on the phone, like if I saw some people from where I'm at now in Detroit, in the city, in the hood, I'm gonna be like, how the hell they get down here? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be thinking. So I feel like it's natural for them to kind of do certain little things and not be overly friendly, like you said, because I don't know you, so why am I gonna be overly friendly? And then think about when you were back home. Would you be overly friendly if the shoes were on the other foot? So I feel like it's all perspective, and I feel like we can't take it personal. And I love you guys' mindset together and individually, how you're both like, hey, I'm not taking it personal. That's just how it is. Because I feel like that's how you have to be abroad in order to have a really good experience and love where you are, or you'll hate every little thing if that's the case.
Everything, 100% agree. And I saw somebody in the comments saying if you speak the language, people become more welcoming. And I 100% agree with that. If they see that you're trying, even if if the language is broken, if you're using the wrong verbs, just try. Just try. You just try. If you go to the supermarket, practice the greetings, practice, on the street. If you're at a cafe, just put in the effort, and people see that. So just try.
They do, and I think they really love it. I think they love it.
Yeah,
I think they can appreciate it because they're like, "Hey, you're on our turf, you're on our soil. At least you're trying to connect with us, right?"
Because Americans, we do the same way. You meet someone, they've lived in the U.S. for 15 years and they still don't speak English because they've lived in their little community and they don't leave. So yeah, you've got to put in the effort.
for sure.
It's not easy, but you've got to try.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's go into the biggest question that I think 90% of everyone wants to know. What do you guys do for work? People always want to know, how are you making money? Are you working there? Is it allowed? Are you working online? So many people are like, but I don't have an audience. I don't know how to make money online. So what is it that you guys do for work?
Well, we're in IT. So, the great thing about IT is all you need is an internet connection and a phone or a laptop, and you can do your job anywhere. So we own two IT companies, and I have a contract with a European, a Swiss company, and so that's how we make our money. We do everything we did back home. We do it here. Like I said, all I need is this, all I need is that, and I can do my job from anywhere.
And I changed careers. I was in finance and banking, and I was burnt out. One of the reasons we moved here because I was tired of banking and finance. So I started learning and studying during COVID, getting into fintech, and then moving an interest into tech. Mm-hmm. And so we started our company together. So I think when you move abroad, you've got to be, you can't be the exact same job that you have. You've got to adapt. Mm-hmm. I taught English, and I still teach English online part-time because I love it. So are you going to make, the big, huge salary you had in the U.S.? If you're in tech, possibly, but in other careers, I took a huge pay cut to go from finance to now I'm teaching online for 8 hours a week. And now I'm building a tech company. So you've got to just be resilient, be flexible. The world's changing. There's so many things mm-hmm. that you can, adjust and change your skill set if you truly want to move mm-hmm. abroad.
Yep.
Tech is where it's at. Tech never gets old. Like, technology is growing. Things are growing. AI is growing. Tech is where it's at, literally.
I mean, it really is true. Like, if you're a doctor, you need to know tech. If you are, a beautician, I think every industry, you've got to have some type of tech background. So we're tapping into smart building technology. That's our next move. And now that we're permanent residents, we're looking to do business here in Europe. So, like I said, I adjusted. I took a career change. It's possible if you really want to live and be abroad. Yeah. You've got to make some adjustments. Mm-hmm. But it's
and you don't, and even if you don't have a tech job, right? There's different online portals that you can find work. People are always looking for like the Upwork type mediums where, if you're an accountant, you can find accounting work. If you're a lawyer, you can do lawyer work. I mean, there's so many, I guess they call it gigs, mediums out there where no matter what you do, you can find something to make some money.
Yeah.
It just depends on, like I said, it has to be something you want to do. Mm-hmm. I think the people that move abroad, wherever they move, and it doesn't work out is because honestly, you just didn't work hard enough. You didn't work hard enough to make it work for you. Whatever that means, because that means something different for everybody. Mm. So if you're working it, and you want to be there, and that you see yourself being there, indefinitely, mm-hmm. you have to work at it. We're permanent residents here. We've been here 6 years, and every single day, I still suck. There's still so much stuff. I still got so much language to learn. I still have so many. I have to push myself to immerse myself in the culture more. There's always something to help you get more in tune with where you're living. It's just a choice. It's like anything else in life, right? It's all choices, right? How bad do you want it? Do you want to come and sightsee for a couple months and go home? That's fine. But if you want to move somewhere and stay there, you got to work it. Especially if you don't have, especially if you don't have a job you can do online, or if you don't have a company that will allow you to live anywhere. Then you have to work harder, obviously. For me, it's not that hard, right? Because, again, I'm in tech. I can do my job anywhere. My contracts are all based in the U.S., so I don't have to worry about anything. But
it was harder for me.
But yeah.
But it required me to learn more skills. It required me to get certified, spend, 2 years learning technologies, getting technical certifications. And I saw somebody, I started teaching online with Preply, English, people from all different countries. You set your rate. I mean, you probably could if you had no kids and was single, maybe you could survive off teaching online.
Yeah.
But I set my rates. I set the hours I want to work. I just love teaching English to adults. So I think even if our tech company blew up to millions, I would still do it. So you just got to be like Bobby said. You just got to be flexible and work, no matter what it is. Working for the language, the culture, the people, the work, the money. You've got to work.
Gotta work. I love that. I love that. I love you guys together. I love your energy as a family. I really feel like you both complement each other. Like I can see what's going on and why it's been as long as it's been. I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a long time. Almost 15 years married.
Oh, wow. Oh, congratulations. That's dope. Especially now in these days. Y'all know how it get out here. Y'all know how it get.
Yeah, it's hard. We know.
Let me finish. No. Let me finish. Then I'll let you get it, okay? Okay, sorry about that. So I love that you guys highlighted so many key things that I feel like people need to hear. And especially with like making money and working, I feel like people automatically get in this mindset where they want to leave to get a job working abroad. When I think that you have to be more in an entrepreneur mindset, because I noticed that every time I connect with people and follow their story, I noticed that they always end up becoming entrepreneurs. And it never ends. I have never, ever met anyone who has lived abroad for a nice amount of time. I'm talking 5, 10, 3, 15 years, however, and they stay doing remote work or teach, and they always ended up going off into entrepreneurship. So I love that you guys touched on how you were both kind of doing like different things, and then you started the company together. And I feel like that's key, because it's important to create some type of freedom so that we can like create our own schedules, have our own money. Like that's what it's all about. I feel like if we didn't do that, we might as well be back in the States, right? So yeah. I love that you guys did that. I love that you both like made it like an entrepreneur thing too, and you dipped off into that outside, and you were even willing to learn new skills. That's key. That is huge, because a lot of people don't want to learn so that they can live better, and they don't want to become like they just don't want to adapt. And I feel like if you leave with that mindset, like, I don't want to do this, or why do I have to change this up, and you're not open to change, it'll be the worst experience. So I love how you guys were both open to change and how you adapted to switching careers. Like that's huge. I love that.
Yeah, you've got to be willing to adapt, and then you've also got to adjust. We don't own a car. We haven't owned a car in 6 years since we moved here. We haven't owned a car. So you just don't move abroad. Don't move abroad wanting to replicate your life in the U.S.
There you go.
You're moving to a new country for another reason. So if you lived in a 4-family home with a backyard and basement in the U.S., if you have to move into a 2-bedroom flat in your new country, but you're living outside, you're always on the go, you're traveling, you're enjoying life, sometimes you've got to make adjustments. So don't try to replicate your life in your new country.
I think a lot of times that people who struggle or have a hard time is because they're doing that.
Yeah.
They're trying, leave your U.S. baggage in the U.S. Come here not here, but anywhere, wherever you're trying to go, with an open mind that whatever I did in the U.S., I'm going to take the good bits of what I've learned and what I've skilled up in the U.S., bring that with me, but leave all the other bullshit at home.
Right.
Like leave that there. Don't try to come here. If you got, like Vincent said, if you got, a big house in the U.S., you're probably not gonna have a big ass house when you move abroad. Now, if you got racks like that, if you sitting on a bag, hey, congratulations, you can do what you want to do. but for everybody else that's still working, still grinding, just leave that shit at home. That was hard for me. That was hard for me because I felt like a king in my castle. Like everything in my house, from the house to the to the cars, to the dog. Everything was made of pure comfort. This is my space. I love my space. And so when I moved here, it was a big adjustment for me to go back to apartment living because we hadn't lived in an apartment since we first moved in together before we got married. So to go from our nice house to a flat, I was like, this sucks. I hate this. Too small. I need more space. But again, it's also taught me to finally appreciate a term that I always used to think was bullshit, which is less is more. I always heard that less is more. I was like, shut up. That's what people who have everything say. Shut your ass up. That don't make no sense.
Right.
I was like, that don't make no sense. But I actually see now, like I actually see it firsthand every day. I see it myself that I don't need that big ass house. I don't need all those cars. I don't need all that bullshit that I had back home that just took up space.
Or the debt.
Or the debt, yeah. for sure. So like I've had like a couple years ago it hit me. I had like a moment of clarity and I was like, fuck, this is what it is. I finally now can appreciate this transition, right? Because for me, moving here was just a new challenge, something new to do. But more of the culture or mental well-being aspect of it, I didn't really appreciate, right? You know, I struggled when I first got here with just, you know, having so much time, so having extra time to do shit, you know, make sure that I keep myself on a positive track, that I'm always moving forward, that I'm being the best man that I can be. And I struggled with that at first because, you know, I was all over the place, right? I just, you know, it was like a little puppy that you let out in the yard. I'm all over. I'm trying this, I'm trying that. And I just ended up spinning my wheels and getting nowhere. But once I calmed down, once I took a step back and really started to appreciate what I gained by moving here, then it changed.
Yeah,
my life completely changed. It completely clicked. My stress went down. My anxiety went down. Everything, all my anger even was more tempered. And so it takes time. It's not easy. I'm not going to tell anybody listening to this or that will eventually listen to this that you're going to move and all your problems will magically disappear.
Right.
No, they won't. No, they won't. If anything, sometimes it'll get harder before it gets easier. So if you come in with that mindset that I'm going to make this work for me, I promise you, it'll be the best decision you ever made. It's completely changed my life.
Bobby hasn't returned to the U.S. since we moved here.
I ain't gone back.
Not even to visit.
Right, I was about to say, not even to visit?
Not even to visit.
Nope.
Almost 6 years he hasn't returned. I go back every summer for the family, but yes, he has not gone back at all.
Nope.
And he tells his family, you want to come see me? You know where I live.
Wow.
You know where I'm at.
I love it. You guys definitely have an inspiring story.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Like, it's very interesting. And I love the mindsets that you both have because it's like mindset is everything. If we can just shift for 1 second, because many people, they never do. That's why they never leave, even if they want, because they do not shift their mindset. That's like huge. That's huge.
It's so huge. And then it's shifting for your children. Mm-hmm. It's shifting, you know, that life for, if we were still in the U.S., our children's lives would be completely different. And to be able to expose them to traveling to other countries and having other foods, it's a great experience. It's great that we can hop on everywhere in Europe, and even North Africa. It's so cheap to fly. So it's great just to be able to show them different parts of Europe and the world.
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible. Even for me, as an adult, going to cities that I only saw on TV and in movies, like being able to walk through those cities that I saw on TV, like I don't know, it just does something for me. It's like because when you watch certain things on TV, it feels like a dream. It feels like it's not real, like it's not tangible. And then I'm walking through these same streets, and I'm just like, I don't know. You have those I made it moments where you feel like you made it. I made it. I'm here. I've arrived finally. And I think that's been a big, because I took it for granted. I'll be honest. I used to take it for granted. Just travel in general, I took for granted because, I was always moving. I was in the military, so I was always all over the place. So I took it for granted. But when we came here and we started going to some of these cities, these old cities, these historic cities you see on TV, cities you see in movies, and it just completely changes your perspective. You realize that you can do this, and it is not just a way of life only set aside for certain people of a certain race or a certain income level. You can fucking do this. I think that's what I try to tell everybody that listens to my story. You can fucking do it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It's not as far away as you think it is. It's just like to your point, it's just a mindset. Stop thinking why you can't and start telling yourself why you can. And just fucking do it.
yeah.
It's all mindset. It's all mindset.
Yep.
And that
And then a lot of times you realize it's cheaper to do it.
exactly.
You're actually, it's less expensive than
Yes.
some of your friends bought a $5,000 bag, and you're like, well, I can go to that's
four
like
trips
for the whole family. It's like we can go a bunch of different countries.
Yeah.
Man.
So
And travel.
it's a mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just because in the U.S. I feel like in the U.S. because you're not allowed, you can't travel as much because you only have 2 weeks vacation. I feel like I did it. I'm guilty of it. My therapy was shit, was stuff, right? Just buying shit, just to make myself feel better, right? Because like I said earlier, like our house was full of shit. Some stuff that we never even touched. When we were moving, we were actually getting rid of the stuff in the house. So after we sold the house, we found shit that still had tags and stuff on it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, we're just wasting money on shit that does nothing for us, that has no value add, doesn't contribute to the mission, doesn't make us better as people, doesn't help our kids any. And so why are we doing this shit? Why are we making these moves? Why are we behaving this way? Why? It's because that's the only way we can feel good about shit in the U.S. when you're in the rat race and on the grind. You have 2 weeks vacation. Once that you get sick, you have no weeks vacation. So your vacation's off. You're gone now because you got sick. And so you don't have an opportunity to relax, to enjoy life, to take it all in. And now that I can, it just my mind is completely shifted. I'm just like, I don't need all that bullshit now. I don't need all those things. I don't need all those clothes. I don't need a bunch of cars. For me, what makes me happy is what country, what city can we see? Where can we go? What can we do that we haven't already done? That's the kind of stuff I want to spend my money on now.
Right.
Not on stuff.
Right.
I don't care about stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a gamer and I love tech. So I do buy that shit. Full disclosure, I'm not acting like I'm some like holier than thou person. Hell no. I still buy a bunch of shit that I like. But it doesn't define me anymore. My stuff doesn't define me.
Yeah,
My stuff doesn't make me.
That's the best way to say it.
Yeah, that's key. That's key. I might have to clip that part. I might have to clip that in another part.
Yeah,
No worries.
Because in Atlanta, your stuff, your car, your bag, where you went to university, where you live, what you do, that defines you.
Yep.
And here,
there's no pressure to have to. I don't know how can I explain that. There's no pressure to keep up because there's nothing to keep up to.
Right.
There's no standard, this invisible standard that exists in the U.S. That's not, they don't have that. They don't give a fuck about none of that here.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're at it, they work, they work to live, they don't live to work. Right. And that's all they need. If they could work, if they can get a paycheck and not have to go to work, they fucking do it. People would be like, damn that job. I just need the money. Because that's their attitude. And it's like at first I resented it, honestly. As an American ex-military, I resented that attitude. I'll be honest. When I first moved here, I was like, "You lazy mother effers! If you don't get your ass up here and sign this form, so I can get out of here."
Or you show up at the coffee house. You show up at your favorite coffee spot, and they've got a sign, "We're taking rest today." Yeah. And you're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah. What does that mean?
Now we appreciate it. Yeah. Now we're like, "Yeah, you guys, your family business, and you took a day of rest."
Yeah.
In the U.S., we're like, "What do you mean? You're supposed to be open."
Exactly.
Why aren't you here?
Exactly.
Now now you're like, oh yeah, it's a family run business. They're retired and they decided not to open today.
Yep.
And you appreciate that.
All of these high expectations that we have, that's something that I'm still learning to let go of too. Get rid of the expectations.
Yeah.
That's a US thing.
Yep.
When everything has to be done a certain way by a certain way. No, you're more in a flow state. When you move abroad, you're more in flow. We are in flow now. I love it.
Yes. Yes. And if you're American, it is an adjustment. And I'm 6 years and I still am adjusting to the go with the flow, the culture, the tranquila, no pasa nada. It takes a while to change your US mindset.
Yeah, because when you let it go, then you feel like you feel less than.
Yeah.
Or
I'm taking a nap at 1. I'm taking a nap at 1 p.m. What the hell is wrong with me? I'm lazy. No, it's part of the culture.
hey, anybody who's not taking naps, bro, take a nap if you can take a nap.
I love me a nap. I love a nap. Naps are important.
Seriously.
I enjoyed you guys so much. I enjoyed you guys so much today.
Thank you.
I have to bring you guys back again because y'all made me laugh. Like, you gotta laugh. Life is all about laughing. I enjoy y'all. Like, y'all made it.
And that's what's great about Bobby. He makes me laugh.
Yes, like, y'all did good with that because it's like, we don't have to be so serious. This is supposed to be fun, therapeutic. You know, we are getting away from the hard life, the struggle, the pain. It's supposed to be like this. This is how it's supposed to be. This is the energy that we're supposed to have. So I appreciate you guys for bringing that today. And I'm sure that anybody who watched the replay is going to enjoy. I know I did. So much. I was listening the whole time intrigued. Like, okay, tell me more. Tell me more. So could you guys put your page in the comments? I'm going to pin it because I'm sure there's people watching that want to follow. I'm going to pin it really quick.
Okay.
And you guys can head over there and follow them, follow their journey. I know that, son, I'm almost done. Okay, give me a second. Yes, give me a second. I'm almost done.
I know. We see our 2-year-old running around in front of us. So.
Yeah. My kids keep coming down. They're like, okay, you said an hour, ma'am.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm sorry. Okay, let me pin it. 1 second. Pin comp. Okay, there we go. So for everybody that's watching, you can head over and follow them there. I tagged the page. It's pinned right in the comments. You guys covered things that I didn't even have to ask. You just covered it. So I appreciate that. Is there any last words that you would like to give to someone who's watching? Any kind of inspiration, encouragement, or just a general statement that you would like to end off with today?
Yeah. For me, you want to go first? Okay. For me, it would just be, if you're going to have any expectations at all, expect more from yourself. You can do more than you think you can. You can get out of the rat race. You can get anything that's making you unhappy. You can fix it. As long as you draw breath, you can change. As long as you're able to move, you can move. Don't limit yourself. I feel like ever since I was younger, it literally took me, I'm 41 now. It took me this long to finally figure this out, that your skin tone doesn't matter. How you look doesn't matter. It's a mindset. It's a mindset. Do you want to be more? Do you want to do more? Just fucking do it, man. Just do it, right? Because if I had succumbed to my anxiety or my worry about moving here, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be in this place I am. And please don't let me come off as some fucking guru. I am not a guru at all. I'm not tranquil. I'm not balanced. I still have my struggles. I still have shit that I'm working on and dealing with. Like I said, moving here is not going to magically solve your problems, but it will show you that you are capable of more.
Yeah.
And you can do more.
Second. And live your life for you.
There you go.
Don't, you live your life for you. You hear so many people waiting until they're 65 to just now deciding they're going to live for you, but you've got to live your life for yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's okay. It's okay to be selfish.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So don't hold back, guys. That's what they're saying.
Absolutely.
Go ahead
Go for it.
And do what you need to do. So it's lots of love in the comments. Everyone's saying they're wishing you guys much luck. They're saying they love you guys' energy. So I can agree most definitely. Like I said, for everyone that's watching, please follow so that you can keep up with their journey abroad. Do you guys have any YouTube channel or anything else that you would like us to follow to keep up with your journey?
No, we just have our small Kindle Eats page that my 11-year-old kind of manages about just our life here in Spain and food and stuff. So if you just want to see some cool cities we visited, some interesting foods, follow our page.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Well, I appreciate you guys for taking the time.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. I really enjoyed y'all. The episode is going to be uploaded to YouTube long as we don't have no technical difficulties. Now, the technical difficulties was crazy back in the States. I'm not going to lie. Today, we actually got through the whole episode good with no technical difficulties. On my end, I know that when you guys were getting in, it was a little struggle, but I knew it would work. So I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. Yep. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
My pleasure. So hopefully we can see more of you guys in the future, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. We would love it. Okay. This is great.
Sounds good.
And I like doing it together versus myself.
Yes, and I think you guys are great together. Yes, teamwork. Do everything together.
Thank you.
All righty. Have a good one. You guys enjoy your day. I know I think I'm 5 hours ahead of you. So it's like maybe like 3. What time is it there?
11:30.
Oh, yes. So
a.m.
It's still early. Right. So I'm ahead of you guys. So enjoy your day. Have a beautiful day, okay?
Thank you.
All righty.
Bye.
See you guys. Have a good one.